Annie. I'm going to start with 5 minutes of questions and then turn over to my colleagues, each having the same opportunity. I listen to those who are critical of our even having this hearing and talking about this. There's so many more important things we can talk about. And yet, I just wonder if there's anything more important than life or death in your average neighborhood. Is there anything more important than knowing that that little boy or little girl that you sent to school this morning is safe in the classroom, doesn't have to hide under his desk, active shooter drills and exercises? You know, that really gets down to the basics. If you want to know about the safety of your family, it starts with the knowledge that when that child goes to school, he's going to come home safe at the end of the day. If you can't answer that question affirmatively, what in the hell are the rest of the questions worth? This, to me, is a fundamental issue, and it is a public health issue. It involves not hairstyles, it involves death by gunshot. And it's going on in America every single damn day. And we have a responsibility to do something up here. Not just to say we need to fund the police more. I'll sign up for that. We need to deal with mental health counseling. I'll sign up for that as well. But are we going to do some basic things like safety locks on guns so the kids can't play with them? Are we going to do anything basic like identifying people who should not even be considered owners of guns and take advantage of the the gun store loophole? That to me is an example of what we can do that is just common sense. Some states have taken a lead on this and some may be surprising. Is there any restriction on buying a gun in the state of Wyoming, one of the most Republican states in the United States? Yes, turns out they have a state law that says you have to be 21 years of age. We're still debating this on a national basis. Even a conservative Republican state like Wyoming thinks that makes common sense. I agree with them. I want to ask a question. I have so many I could ask, but Dr. Coney-Gay and Mr. Bryan. And it really gets down to an experience I had thanks to Children's Memorial Hospital, Lurie Children's Memorial Hospital in Chicago. They gathered some gunshot victims together, and I met with them in private and said to them, okay, close the doors, this is off the record. What is it this old white guy ought to know about what's really happening in the streets of Chicago? Finally, when they loosened up and started giving me a response, it was a great day in my life. I learned a lot in a very short period of time. I'll never forget two who talked about the homes they grew up in. One young man, African-American man, said, Senator, I grew up in a house with no rules. When I woke up this morning and opened my eyes, I decided what time I'd get out of bed and whether I'd go to school. I decided whether I'd stay out on the streets all day and all night. I decided whether I'd buy drugs or guns. That was my decision. There were no rules in my house. I contrasted that with my own life. From the minute I opened my eyes in the morning until I closed them at night, there were rules flying at me in every direction. Get up, make your bed, brush your teeth, make your lunch, take care of your little sister. Make sure that we have the dog out for a walk. And when you get to school, there's a nun waiting there with 100 more rules. And the penalty is to burn in hell if you didn't follow them. What a contrast in formative years. The second thing was a young woman who said, I was a mother. She was probably in her 20s. She said, I was a mother at the age of 14. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I said, why? She said, my mother was a junkie. She brought boyfriends home, took advantage of her, and then turned to me. Finally, with that baby, I got out of that house and had a chance. I made something of my life as a result. Those are contrasting life experiences, which I don't know personally, but are part of this calculation. So let me ask the two of you, can we reach young people who've gone through those traumatic experiences and turn their lives around from violence? Doctor?
Thank you, Senator Durbin. First of all, thank you for sharing the story. And there's a phrase that I like to use that's connected to individuals that have lived similar lives, is that no one person should be judged by the worst thing that they've done in their lives. The work that we use, focusing on individuals that are survivors of violence, that have actually caused harm themselves, either in the hospital or on the community-based side, these are individuals that have desisted from that, but they've learned from that. They understand the impact that trauma has. That mom that was a junkie, there's a reason why that mom was a junkie. What the role that trauma has on the household impacts parental practices, monitoring, how parents and families monitor their children. We need to uplift the role that trauma plays in our society. I believe in this room we both agree that the impact that trauma has in terms of suicide rates, we take that same frame, we humanize, but we understand that the individuals that should be trusted to intervene are individuals that have led that lives themselves, and they're asking individuals to walk on the same path that they've walked on because they understand that path. When it comes to addressing issues connected to trauma, you have to really understand the role of trust. A lot of our systems, over time, trust has been eroded, and so having individuals that understand that life is an important first step.
Thank you. Mr. Bryant, you've got 30 seconds.
Yes, I would agree. I would add not only people with the lived experience, but also trained experts in mental health paired with those folks to work to heal our communities. The average age of the folks that we work with is about 31. So imagine a 31-year-old Black male who hasn't finished high school, never had a formal job. A lot of times they've grown up, similarly with no rules. And if we can get to those people and help heal those people, then they're going to be not only better for their communities, but they're going to be better for their families because typically they're going to have kids as well. And a lot of the times that when we see youth getting shot, it's related to an adult in their lives that is living a life that, is not necessarily dignified. And all of our work is really around engaging, healing, and putting people on a path to living a dignified life.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Senator Cornyn.